On this beautiful day. So here we are at Sharing the Harvest Community Farm, and I think that name says it all. Sharing, harvest, and community. That's what we're about. That's why we're here. We support programs that support the communities that we have the great fortune to share. I was listening to public radio, as I often do, driving in the car, might have been last week, 2 weeks ago. And what jumped out from the speakers was this question: why is the why the most important? And I thought, this can't be right. I'm listening to public radio. It's out of Boston. Why is the why most important? So I turned up the radio. I started to pay more attention, and it was an interview with Nnedi Okorafor, and she's a Nigerian-American writer. Novels, but some of you may know her as the creator of the most recent iterations of the Black Panther, and I'm not talking about the movement in the 60s, but I'm talking about the movie and the comics. And so she was asked, why is the why the most important question? And the conversation, I thought, was relevant, because she said that the why is a more important question than the what, or the when, or the where, or the who, because the why is what gives that context and purpose. And I thought, that kind of applies. You know, the why is important because the why does give purpose and meaning to the who's and the what's, the people that we serve, the people that are our staff, who, by the way, have done a wonderful job getting this ready for this morning. Let's give the staff a round of applause. This is terrific. I do have to mention that our farmer Ashley, is she here? So Ashley, I came out here Sunday just to kind of walk around a little bit. Who's here on Sunday watering all the seedlings in the hothouse? It's Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. So what a year this has been. What a year. Looking back, on March 9th, Rhode Island declares a COVID emergency. March 10th, Mass follows suit. March 11th, the World Health Organization declares a state of emergency. Y Southcoast shut its doors on March 16th, but not for long. Within a week, the New Bedford Y was reopened, offering free childcare to frontline healthcare workers. Now, how important is that? And how nimble is an organization that it can respond to a pandemic within 1 week of this new virus that gave us not only difficulties, but uncertainty? And here is the Y trying to figure out a way to respond. So the New Bedford Y reopened its doors for childcare first week of April. Fall River Y begins its mobile market. So this doesn't happen without organizations realizing that we're in a time of opportunity. And the Greater Boston Food Bank reaching out to Southcoast Y and saying, we can help. Food insecurity is a big deal. It always is a big deal, and it's going to be an even bigger deal during this COVID emergency. What a partnership that has been. So for our friends from Greater Boston Food Bank, thank you. So late June, emergency childcare, it moves to regular enrollment. We start camps late. And camps were a struggle. Social distancing protocols and rules limited what we could do, but we did it. And people wanted to be out, and they wanted to be out in the fresh air because people felt safe, and they feel safe with their children at the Y, and there's a reason for that. In September, all our branches reopened. We have the Full Plate Project, and late January of 2021, prepared meals for families in Fall River, New Bedford, and Wareham. In September, we provide remote learning opportunities for kids. 300 to 350 kids a week in our facilities. Now, how important is that? School systems were struggling. Those of you with children at home, you know how hard it's been, much better than I know. And here's the Y saying, we're going to step up, we're going to give you an opportunity, and we're going to provide not only wireless service, which is very, very important, we're going to supply supervision as well. That's why the Y is important. So we don't get to do all of these things without our donors, our supporters, our staff. We're not here if it's not for partnerships with Greater Boston Food Bank. It's not for, if not for the support from the donors who have helped us out. Last year, we had a campaign goal, and frankly, I didn't think we were going to reach it. Last year, I think because of the pandemic, people that could did, and people that did gave us $780,000 last year as donor support, far exceeding our expectations, far exceeding our goals. And it's people like you that made that happen. And we thank you for that. This year, it's a more modest goal. Actually, the goalposts haven't been moved further away. This year, we have a goal of $680,000. And we're confident and hopeful that our donor community will step up and help as it did last year. We're not out of the woods yet. This pandemic is continuing, that we get to gather together here, and this morning on this beautiful, beautiful location is some evidence, I think, of the good things that are to come. But we have a little bit further to go before we get there. So I want to thank you for your support. Thank you for being here this morning. Our executive director is not a native New Englander. Our executive director is a guy who was raised in New Jersey. You can ask him which exit he grew up off of. I don't recall. He's been with the Y for 37 years. Now think about that. Here's a guy who's dedicated his life to a mission and a purpose for 37 years. How many people keep a job for 37 years? And yet Jim Scherer has done that. And he was a New Jersey guy, a Chicago guy. He was a Hartford guy, and now he is our guy. So without further ado, welcome Jim Scherer.
Good morning, everyone. Arthur, thank you for your wonderful words. Thank you all for coming out here today to celebrate YMCA Southcoast, the critically important work of the Y. There are 5 elements that represent the I-beam, just like behind me there, the I-beam of YMCA Southcoast. Arthur touched on, I think, all of them. Our incredible membership. As I go through the list of 5, think about in your own relationship with the Y, where the Y might be today without any one of these. The membership, the volunteers, the donors, the partners, and the staff. I offer that if you remove any one of those 5 key elements, the Y does not look like it does today. The synergy, the symmetry, the symbiotic relationship of those 5 have put us where we are today. We have survived, as Arthur said, certainly not out of the woods. We now see a path for recovery, revitalization, and ultimately sustainability, as we have for more than 155 years. This beautiful piece of property today was a fantastic place to kick off our annual campaign. Remember those 5 elements. Those 5 elements, wonderfully represented in the room here today, helped bring us through the past 13 months. The Sharing the Harvest Community Farm is now to scale. One of the biggest frustrations I have with looking in the mirror here, as I say all the time, with the Y is we have to bring about scalability. So we have this wonderful resource, and now we've augmented that. with broadening the food insecurity piece. And I have the pleasure of introducing one of our partners in just a moment here. Just a moment. So that's where we are. Now I am going to go through a couple of quick recognitions here. Arthur did a beautiful job. But our host today worked on this for weeks. Our fabulous executive director, Maxine Hebert, is here. Maxine, wave your hand if you're in the area. She's out front, still working hard. We have our farm director, who is watering the seedlings this Sunday, as Arthur referenced, Ashley Brister, who's just crushing it. Ashley, thank you. Just crushing it. We have Mary Strasser in center field here with the Dartmouth YMCA Board of Advisors. Mary, thank you. We have members of the Farm Committee, the Sweat Equity. The Sweat Equity. I saw Joan Dalton here, but there must be other members of the Farm Committee. Joan and Farm Committee, thank you. And the captain of today's event, the fantastic Director of Mission Advancement, Robin Branco is here. Robin, there she is. So one last thought, and then I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing one of our incredible strategic partners. The YMCA, for more than 155 years now, a little bit longer in Fall River, laser focuses on return on the mission, our critically important work of strengthening community. This is not watching our stock. This isn't watching our place on the NASDAQ. This is about the return on mission. The 5 elements that I started with, wonderfully represented in the room today, have positioned us here for this return on mission. The scalability, as I mentioned. Return on mission. Everything Robin and Maxine and Ashley, the volunteers that I mentioned, Joan and Mary, everything we do is focused on return on the mission. We are stronger together. Thank you. Now I have the pleasure of introducing a fabulous person. I've seen her on Zoom a few times. And now I get to listen to her live, which I'm just so excited about. This is Carol Tienken. Off to my right is about to come up. She is the Chief Operations Officer and Senior Vice President of Community Impact for the Greater Boston Food Bank. Carol?
All right, I'm already intimidated. The two before me come up with notes and they don't read from them. So I got to tell you, I'm reading from my notes. What a pleasure it is to be here today. I'm so thrilled to help this annual campaign kick off, not only highlighting what we do at the Greater Boston Food Bank, but also to shine a spotlight on the issue of hunger in Eastern Massachusetts, our Commonwealth, and frankly, our country. I'm Carol Tienken, Chief Operating Officer and Senior Vice President of Community Impact at the Greater Boston Food Bank. I'd like to start by acknowledging how weird and wonderful it is being here in person, not on Zoom. And it is, I was talking to Ms. Webb over here before the meeting and saying how weird it is kind of to be around everybody and a little disconcerting, but this is so much fun and what a beautiful day, so thank you. The Greater Boston Food Bank's mission is to end hunger here, a task that has proved particularly elusive in the last 13 months. And yet, with the many heartbreaking stories we have seen and experienced, a resiliency and collaboration has emerged in the most wonderful ways to help our neighbors in need. YMCA Southcoast is a perfect example. Our partnership began in April of 2020, and because of the commitment, energy, and enthusiasm of the YMCA Southcoast and its leadership, and I'm going to call out Jim, Stephanie, and Robin in particular, it took off. And they've committed to keeping it going in the same way that we're committed to taking this journey with them. With significant funding from the Yawkey Foundation and Feeding America, GBFB is making a multi-year investment in this region through what is being called the Full Plate Project, and you're going to see a great video, I think, after me. We began this multi-year investing in 2017 with a strategic plan that aimed to identify and develop new partnerships in communities that exhibited high food insecurity and for one reason or another lacked the necessary resources to meet the demand for food emergency. Several communities in the Southcoast area ranked among the cities and towns that we were planning to focus on, but we started with another YMCA that was closer to our warehouse in Boston. In February 2020, we opened our first multi-year collaboration in Medford with the Mystic Valley YMCA. It was called the Mystic Community Market. 1 month later, the pandemic caused massive shutdown, unheard of spikes in unemployment, school closings, and a surge in food insecurity rates throughout the country. 6 months later, the Mystic Community Market exceeded all expectations and helped to close the gap amid surging food insecurity rates in not just Medford, but Malden and Everett as well. So with one multi-year collaboration underway, we turned our attention to the South Coast with a different set of needs and a different distribution paradigm and a very, very willing partner. And my sidebar here is that our VP of Community Impact is a farmer himself, and so I think he looked around and said, this is it. Even before the COVID crisis, food insecurity and the corresponding lack of available resources to meet this need was reason for concern. In Fall River, for example, 1 in 7 residents were already food insecure. That's before the pandemic. The time to act was overdue. It seemed as if overnight this partnership formed, and while it was born out of necessity, this feels like destiny. Now, over a year into this crisis, food insecurity is conservatively projected to remain up 30% over pre-pandemic levels for the rest of the year in GBFB's service area of eastern Massachusetts. Here in Bristol County, that means that 1 in 9 individuals and 1 in 5 children are still projected to be living in food insecure homes. And while these Feeding America 2021 projections for our region might appear slightly optimistic because they're better than the projections in 2020, we haven't seen the demand for emergency food go down yet, and we don't expect it will for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I looked at the numbers that we distributed just last week. We distributed almost 3 million pounds of food just in the week, and our norm 14 months ago was about 1.5 million. So we're doing double of what we're doing and barely keeping our heads above water. But historically, it's taken years for food insecurity levels to rebound. After the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, I'm getting ahead of myself. It took over 10 years for food insecurity rates to get back to early 2008 levels in our region, and those levels were frankly unacceptable. It will take even more innovative solutions and partnerships like the Full Plate Project here in the South Coast region for us to make sure we're able to meet the high demand for healthy food and ensure that our residents have necessary nutrition available so that they can grow and thrive in the future. In order to achieve that, I want to issue a challenge to other civic-minded organizations, government officials, donors in our region and throughout the country to take a look at what South Coast YMCA has done. Use this Full Plate Project as a model that should be replicated throughout. I can assure you that GBFB is committed to food security in all our service area of eastern Massachusetts and further committed to strong community partnerships in ending hunger. Together, we can end hunger here. I want to step out of my remarks for a second. As I was driving in, I passed the Friends Academy and started seeing signs that said hope all the way here. And then I get here and there's another sign that says hope. This project is definitely a project that is bound in hope, and we're so excited about it. In closing, I want to thank you all for your continued support of the YMCA Southcoast and this very important program, which I think we get to see a video of right now. Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Mancini. I am the Executive Director at the Fall River YMCA. Strengthening community is our cause. Regardless of race, age, gender, sexual orientation, or financial background, We welcome everybody. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to take advantage of our services, our facilities, our programs, regardless of financial means. Studies have shown since the COVID-19 pandemic began that 1 out of 8 households are struggling with food insecurity across the South Coast. In Fall River, pre-COVID, there was a 600,000 meal gap that needed to be addressed.
My name is Jonathan Tatro. I'm the Vice President of Community Impact for the Greater Boston Food Bank. The Greater Boston Food Bank is a regional food insecurity response agency that covers the eastern part of Massachusetts, covering 190 cities and towns. And our mission is to end hunger here in eastern Massachusetts. As we saw the pandemic start to impact food insecurity rates and we saw demand rising across our region, we recognized that there was a significant gap in Fall River and the South Coast. So we looked for a strong partner that we could connect with to respond to that crisis locally on the South Coast. We connected with Stephanie Mancini and her team and quickly realized that they were the perfect partners for us in this effort. They were missionally aligned with us and were eager to do whatever it took to feed their neighbors in Fall River and the surrounding communities.
We began the food distribution in Fall River in April of 2020 with 3,000 pounds of food. We had promoted it all over social media. The information definitely got out there. We were able to get rid of that food very quickly. We had a drive-through system where they simply popped their trunks and we placed the food in there. It was contactless. Everybody had to wear their masks. It really was a safe option for people.
The response in the community to the mobile markets hosted by the YMCA is just a testament to their place in the community on the South Coast and why they make such a fantastic partner. They're trusted by the families that see them as a local resource that they can go to for help in a time of need. It's been a year now and they've distributed almost 200,000 pounds of food as part of their response to this pandemic.
Due to the success at the Fall River location, an even larger opportunity came across to partner on a long-term basis with the Greater Boston Food Bank. We were able to expand into what was later called the Full Plate Project, which encompassed the Swansea location, Wareham, New Bedford, and Dartmouth. Most recently, we have a newly renovated pavilion, including walk-in freezers, walk-in refrigerators, and a storage unit at the Dartmouth location. The great thing about having the Dartmouth YMCA as our packing site and kind of our hub is that we already have this amazing Sharing the Harvest farm in which we've been able to grow fresh produce and distribute food. Now this really just kind of expands upon this. Really excited about where this is going.
So looking forward, the YMCAs have proven time and again to be strong partners both in the South Coast and elsewhere in our service area. And moving forward, we're looking to this Full Plate project to be a template that we can replicate in other communities.
1 year ago today, we weren't even at the table when we were talking about food distribution. Nobody really thought of the YMCA as a place where they can go get fresh fruits and vegetables. And here we are a year later, and we are distributing massive amounts of food to people in the community. We have more than 50 volunteers that come in each week, and they are packing up food, sometimes 12,000 to 15,000 pounds of food. They're working hard together to make it happen. I am personally very proud to be part of an organization that is really coming to the challenge, really meeting the needs of the community. And we will be there for years to come.
We don't have this wonderful partnership, effective partnership, with Greater Boston Food Bank if we didn't first take steps with the Hunger Commission and the United Way of New Bedford. That's how we started early on, and it has allowed us to be able to partner with such a terrific organization as Greater Boston Food Bank to address food insecurity in Bristol County. The next section here, I think Robin is going to come up and introduce. Oh, you're coming up. Okay. Well, thank you. Say hi to everybody.
All right. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Mel Dyer. I'm from the Gleason Family YMCA. I'm a senior program director there. And the reason I'm standing here today is that one of our long-term volunteers with the Full Plate Project is here to tell you about her and her family's involvement in this project. They are a remarkable family, and I'm proud to present Jackie Webb with Kyle and Jacob Webb and Tamsin Collum. If you'd please come on up. The Gleason Y has been incredibly lucky to be part of this program. I'm kind of one of the on-the-ground people working with the Full Plate Project at Gleason, and I have to say our crowd of volunteers and the people who show up to help out with this project are so supportive and so involved and so dedicated to it, and this family embodies all of that. So give them a warm welcome, please.
Okay, this is not my wheelhouse. I do not do this. We're pretty good at volunteering and helping where we can, when we can. And I guess, about a year and a half ago, somebody had called me and told me about the program that was running. And so I got involved on the receiving end of it. We've been fortunate enough to be involved in many aspects of this, from the receiving to the packing to the distributing. And now we started delivering food, which is our thing. It's a wonderful program, and I've learned a lot about myself from this program. Unfortunately, I may have had a few judgments about the situation of the people coming to receive, and I have since found out that need does not discriminate. People need help, and it's hard to ask for help for a lot of people. It's hard to receive that help. Mel and all the people there are so kind and so loving and so sweet and very sincere with their desire to help people, that when people come, they're thankful and they're grateful, and not in a uncomfortable way, just so glad that people have come together to help in a hard time. And it's a wonderful program. It is money and time well spent. And if you ever wonder if it isn't, I'm here to tell you, as my family is, that it is very helpful in so many ways. And we hope that it continues, because we would like to continue doing it. And we went out there looking at the farm, and I think we're going to start doing the farm too. There's many people in the world today that are pointing out the negative and the difficult and the bad. And more attention should be paid to the people who are helping and kind and loving. And I just want to say thank you for being helping, kind and loving. Some of you, it's your career. Some of you, it's volunteer. Either way, you could make money in a lot of other places doing a lot of other things, but you're helping society. You're bringing the humanity back and being human. And thank you for that.
So, Jackie, you said it's out of your wheelhouse to do this? There's nothing more effective than heartfelt words. Thank you. You know, it's truly an embodiment, personification of generosity. How what goes around comes around. The next item on the program is, I think Steph is going to come up and introduce somebody else. Come on up, Steph.
Thanks, Arthur. Arthur's one of my favorites. Good morning, everyone. Test the sound here. I don't have any notes. because I don't need any notes for you, Bernie. I'm going to borrow yours. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Mancini. I'm the Executive Director at the Fall River YMCA. I'm extremely proud of all the work that we've been able to do. I look around this room right now. I see board members from the Board of Directors, from our Fall River YMCA, from the Full Plate Project, since day one. So our staff in the back, Ray Prevost, who's been a huge part of this as well, getting everything set up. He needs a shout out. Love you, Ray. But I'm here to introduce Bernie Oliveira. Again, there's just so many great volunteers who have helped out. You guys are all so very special. Bernie came to us a few years ago as part of the Live Strong program. For those of you who remember the Live Strong program, and for those of you who don't know, it is a cancer survivor program. So essentially, people that are going through cancer treatments or in remission, it's a 12-week program that is not only a physical component, but it has a whole social, emotional support piece to it. And so Bernie participated in that program, and not only participated, but became one of the leaders, one of the ambassadors for the whole entire YMCA, not just the Live Strong program. After she graduated from the program, she really was, she was an everyday person at the Y, so she became a regular, and she's just a staple at the Fall River YMCA, and also visits the Swansea Y and just makes her rounds. So when we closed our doors back, was it March 15th, I think, last year, our routines kind of came to a halt, right? All of our, what do we do? Where do we go? We can't go to see our favorite instructors and go see our friends at the YMCA. So I think that was tough for all of us, right? So when we were able to start this project with the Greater Boston Food Bank, we were able to bring back people. We were able to bring back our members and our staff. And Bernie was one of these people that was dying to get back to see all her peeps at the Y. And she pretty much has been in every single market since the whole thing started. And when I tell you rain, shine, snow, sleet, we had it all, I think, on Friday. And she was there, in fact, brought me a coffee and, brought her brother. She brings her whole family, by the way, too. To everything, and she's recruited quite a lot of people, but she came and she stayed from start to finish to the point where we were rolling a trash receptacle up the hill, and she's right next to me. We're both laughing, and we're soaked, and we just, I'll never forget, there's so many memories that have been created through all this. So Bernie's going to share her story, and I have something for you after. Okay, something you've been wanting. So everybody, if you could put your hands together for Bernie over there.
Good morning. I think she just about did my whole speech, but that's okay. That's the way Stephanie is. She takes over. But anyway, I was asked to do this today so I could tell people what the Y meant to me. I love the Y, and I love everything about the Y and the people. I did start with the Live Strong program, and Christine at the time was the director, and she was kind of like the first one that got me going in this. I did my 12-week program. Then she said, well, if you want to be a member. Well, financially, it was tough. There again, the Y stood up and said, we give financial aid. Well, I joined. After I joined, I got my brother to join, and I got my sister to join. So it is one family. And then after that, I started hearing about, I was doing, equipment and all that kind of stuff. And after that, I heard about food. So I went to Stephanie, and I said, okay, how do you get involved? Just show up. Well, I'm still showing up. And I've met so many people through the food. It's like I got so many new friends, and I got, friends that I can't even say enough about. And after that, it was like, well, we've been doing it for how long? And I see that we've grown to this facility over here, and it's amazing. We used to pack in the Fall River Y. We'd pack and give the food out in the same day. And we'd scrounge for boxes, and we'd scrounge for bags. Ray would yell, Bernie's stealing all the boxes. Me and Pat Taylor, we would hide all the boxes. And he'd start yelling at me. I was like, oh my God. And so that was the big part of it. And then, like I said, we moved here. And there's so much about the Y. I mean, I can't thank the people. And like Stephanie said, my home base is Fall River. They give me everything that I need there. Well, I've spread my wings a little bit, and I go to Swansea. But there again, the Y is the Y. I mean, no matter which Y you go to, they are family. You walk through the door of the Y and you feel like you belong. That's the feeling that you get. And I mean, the only Y I haven't been to is Wareham. It's a little bit of a drive. And maybe someday. But I haven't done workouts or anything, but I've met so many people from the other Ys because of directors. It's unbelievable, the people that come out. I don't care if you're just a person off the street, if you're a director. I don't care what you do at the Y. They make you want to be part of it. And when I was with Stephanie, we started the food, the dedication and everything that she puts into it. If you're following her, if you can keep up, if you're following her, you have to become a part of it. I mean, you know, she's a couple of years younger than me, but that's it. And, you know, just a couple. And, you know, like I said, I've got some amazing, amazing friends. And between the person that answers the phone at the Ys, the directors, the instructors, the trainers, you're not going to get a better group of people anywhere you go. There are gyms, and then there's the YMCA. I love the YMCA, and I will keep going as long as I can go. I'm sure that Ray will bring me in on a wheelchair because he says I'm old. Hello, and hello. But he tries to act like a tough guy because he drives me nuts. But I'll tell you, he's a sweetheart, and I love you, Ray. But I mean, I love everybody. And it's like I said, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else, and I will continue doing this until I can't do it anymore. So once again, I just want to thank the Y for what they do for our community and what they've done for me.
Sorry. So, this whole time, Bernie's been asking me for one thing. She's like, can you just please get me a t-shirt? I just want a t-shirt. You guys, the other volunteers are going to get jealous. We'll have to make some more. But this is your special t-shirt.
Oh,
all right?
my God.
Your name and everything. There you go. In pink. All right.
This is what I'm talking about as far as the way they make you feel so special. And everybody does. I love everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. One quick note, another thing that we did at the Y at Gleason with Debbie was that we ended up partnering with Southcoast Hospital Group, and it became a vaccination site. And at Gleason, there were 8,000 shots in the arm at Gleason. So that's a tribute to Debbie and her staff. You know, I have 5 minutes for closing words, and I think I have 7. That's really sad for you. But first of all, I want to, if I may, just give a shout out to Representative Paul Schmidt. Took time out of his day to come down and help us out with the Annual Campaign. You know, again, driving around in my car listening to the radio, Rose Eveleth, I don't know if any of you know her. She's a journalist, a podcast host, a technology reporter. Her works have appeared in the Atlantic Smithsonian Magazine, and she's the founder and the host and the producer of a podcast called Flash Forward. And she has a book that came out called An Illustrated Guide to Possible and Not So Possible Tomorrows. And it caught my attention because, you know, her discussion was about smart cities, and I honestly don't even know what that means. I think when you get to my age. But listening to her, it's this mix of science fiction and science fact. And, you know, we are, I think, coming back to where science is playing an important role in our decision-making and our policies. And one of the issues, and I've always loved science fiction, is that if you get into science fiction, there's always light and dark. There's the hopeful future. There's the smart cities with interconnected streetlights. And then there's the hopeless, the dystopian future, which is, surveillance and Big Brother. And so Rose Eveleth was talking about who wins. When you have that struggle in technology, who wins? And she said, her words, "You alone matter." And I think those words are really important. You alone matter. An example she gave was Toronto was looking to implement a system with Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, for smart city systems in Toronto. And there was a community group, a small community group, that felt that the interests of Google and Alphabet weren't consistent with the interests of that community group. And they stopped it. They stopped Alphabet and Google from creating a smart systems program in Toronto. And so her observation is that you can't single-handedly set the course of the future, but individually there's always a way to get involved in imagining a better future and making it happen. So Stephanie Mancini imagines that better future, and she makes it happen. Jonathan Tatro does the same. Carol Tienken does the same. Jackie Webb, Bernie Oliveira, all are part of that vision of a better future. And you all make a difference. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you very much.